sometimes I just don't get it. I just don't get it anymore. Week 3 was pretty intense. A lot of upsets. Teams that are winless are still winless. Teams that won the first game backed up with another win. We're only 3 weeks in, and I have no idea. I think we're not going on script this time. So, hey everybody, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic, and welcome back. We are here to talk about Week 3 of the NFL and a lot of hoopla, a lot of, oh boy, a lot of, were we wrong? Or are we still in that, everybody panic, everybody panic? Let's start with Thursday Night Football. Did we all really expect the Jets not to win this? I mean, did we not really expect it? I think after the Week 1 win for the Patriots, we're kind of a little bit off that a little that high, a little bit of like, oh, look what the Patriots can do. But then you see what happens to the Bengals right now. You're thinking maybe that win is not as cool as we thought it was. And the Jets, besides Week 1, which they look meh, they won, and the Jets are winning, and the Jets are beating the thing they're supposed to beat. So, what more can I really say about the Jets? Let's be real. Besides San Francisco, the next two opponents, Tennessee and New England, really? We're that excited? They beat the team they're supposed to beat. Can't say that for all teams, but they beat the team they're supposed to beat. Jets gets the win. Patriots are basically what we thought they were, not good enough to compete against the big boys, and that just proves it. So, Jets get the win. Congrats, New York. And I guess we can stay with the Big Apple and talk about the other New York team that also won. They went into Cleveland and they beat the Cleveland Browns, which after 3 weeks makes you wonder, what are the Cleveland Browns? They got smoked by Dallas, but then Dallas has lost back-to-back. They beat Jacksonville, but Jacksonville is 0-3, and we talk about Jacksonville when we talk about Jacksonville. So then you see all this, and you can't help but think of, well, the Giants lost their kicker at the worst time and had to go for 2-point conversions and all that. So could the Giants be 2-1 technically? And the way the Vikings look, you're thinking maybe the Vikings are better than we thought they were. So in a weird way, we're still kind of sense of we don't know who we are yet. We're only 3 weeks in, but Giants getting a win, and basically proving what I think all of us thought Malik Neighbors was going to be the MVP for this offense. And Thursday Night Football's coming up against the Cowboys. If the Giants can win somehow, maybe we'll be giving both New York teams more respect. But the G-Men gets the win. Congrats to them. Thank God. Philadelphia, thank you so much. As a Buccaneer fan, we thank you for your service. But Philadelphia, man, the injury bug is hitting you hard. And I can't help but feel like, is this more of, aha, the Saints are frauds? Or, haha, the Eagles are resilient? Or, haha, both head coaches are stupid? On 4th down conversion, when you just take the points and just said, screw the points, I'll go for it. You didn't get it. Oh boy. This was a very, very sloppy game. I wasn't watching it because I was watching my team play in the local channels. But you saw seeing this 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. And you're thinking, what the hell's going on in New Orleans? And you thought New Orleans had the upset. New Orleans had the thing. I thought New Orleans was going to do it. I thought Philadelphia looked kind of meh. So I thought New Orleans was going to come in and smack Philadelphia in the mouth. They didn't. Philadelphia find a way to win. And I can't help but feel like it's more of the Saints finding a way to lose it than Philadelphia finding a way to win it. But all that matters is the W. Philly gets the win. And that's all that matters. I said it before and I'll say it again. Green Bay's quarterback situation, Jordan Love getting hurt, if he had to, was the best time now. They're going against a lot of teams that are not much of a threat. And some, even after, may not be much of a threat, depends how the season goes on. But Green Bay has a very easy transition, and honestly, the way they're playing, I would say, unless you 100% sure Jordan Love would come in, I would say let him rest. The Green Bay rushing attack has been effective. Malik Neighbors is not going. Malik Willis, sorry, nothing for Malik, is not playing above his, his station. He's doing what he has to do, and the Green Bay defense is being formidable. So unless you really have to put Jordan Love in, I would say Green Bay ghost, because you're going to need him with the Lions and definitely the Vikings. Who would have thought out of all the 4 teams in the NFC North, the Vikings will be considered the threat of the North? But, Tennessee, maybe you are the worst team. Ouch. But Green Bay gets the win. No Jordan Love, and that's not a problem. Green Bay with the win. Okay, let's be real. I didn't really plan on wearing this hat this week, but it happened. Denver comes into Tampa and they smack Tampa in the mouth. You can blame injuries. You can blame, being overconfident. I think all of them are warranted. In a weird way, I was kind of glad that Bo Nix played well. But boy, did it kind of very much how the Eagles did to the Saints. Denver did to Tampa what basically a lot of us was probably expecting. Is like, Tampa is a good team, not a great team. This is a team you probably should have beaten. And now you have Philadelphia, which even though they did win, are coming like a wounded bird. So, and you're going to have a much difficult stretch for the Buccaneers. But Denver gets the win, and what's funny enough is that this is kind of what I expected Bo Nix to be, and I just can't help but feel like, why wasn't Bo Nix like this against the other teams, who, by the way, are all 3-0. Pittsburgh and Seattle are all 3-0. So maybe it's more about the Bucs being not what we thought they were than Denver, playing against much better opponents. But Denver gets a win. Bo Nix gets his first, and the way the AFC West is right now, with the Chiefs going meh and the Raiders meh and charged with injuries, just keep an eye on the Denver Broncos. They're probably the only team that has a healthy quarterback and a healthy scheme right now. Just saying. Denver with a win. Okay, for a show of hands, how many thought the Vikings would be 3-0? Or matter of fact, I'll be easier. How many of you thought the Vikings would have beaten the Texans the way they did? Okay, it's official. We don't know we don't know anything about football anymore. We don't know anything about the NFL. Sam Darnold looking at MVP candidate. Now, granted, he was 3-0 with Carolina years ago, and he was unemployed for after that still. The Vikings defense is formidable, even though they don't have Hunter anymore. And they beat San Francisco, and they beat the Texans. 2 teams that I think everyone comfortably said they're everyone's top 3 teams to represent the AFC and NFC in the Super Bowl, and the Vikings beat them both. Some were even thinking that maybe the win against the Giants was considered, it's the Giants, they suck. But in a weird way, I guess we can say, no, that was just a dress rehearsal. Now you're going to see just how formidable they can really be. And what's scary is that you cannot not ignore them. You have to accept the Vikings are this good. At least right now, they beat the 2 juggernauts that everyone thought, especially the way they did against the Texans. Now, what to say about the Texans? Houston, you will get the sticker of, hey, it's only 3 weeks. Hey, it's only 3 weeks. Hey, it's only 3 weeks. You can play that up. But this is more about the Vikings' success than the Houston's debacle, and honestly, that should be the reason. Vikings with the win, and they should be talked about more than the Texans losing. Because the Colts won, and Houston probably wanted that, but hey, the Bears had a chance, and the way the other rookies are, Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, it's getting kind of hard to unlook at that. Maybe we all were too. Well, I wasn't. You all were getting too high about the Chicago Bears, but the Colts found a way to win, even though that Bear defense did everything it can to possibly do it. But for whatever reason, the Bears offense is not clicking the way they probably expected. You're putting pressure on a number 1 overall pick quarterback That's already pressure for anyone, whether it's Jameis Winston, Andrew Luck, whatever. And now you're putting it here, and basically you already start talking about banners, talk about seasons, MVPs, Super Bowls, division titles. I said in the beginning, don't do that. And now Chicago Bears are getting very impatient, and the way Caleb Williams sometimes handled criticism with the media and fan base, it could lead to disaster if we're not careful. But this is more about the Colts getting a necessary win, because Jacksonville and Tennessee are still winless, and the Texans losing. They're just right back in there. It's only week 3, but a win's a win. And honestly, it should be more about the Colts getting the victory than the Bears failing again. Colts with the win. I did say Kenneth Walker was going to be the Seahawks MVP, but apparently there is a co-MVP in that rushing attack of the Seattle Seahawks. Now, yes, they didn't have Tua, and they basically lost Skyler. So Miami had no offense, and it's quite sad to be a team as caliber of Waddle and Hill and realize that we have no quarterback. And I can't help but feel like there are some team with backup quarterbacks that I'll be like, you're going to make some phone calls? Because even if Tua does come back in the year, I am still very scary about that. But Seattle is undefeated. Now, granted, would they have beaten the Dolphins if Tua was healthy and playing? Maybe. Could be. But Seattle is beating the team that's in front of them. And the way the NFC West is looking, with the Rams stealing a win from San Francisco, and San Francisco losing back-to-back games, and Arizona's playing more formidable, Seattle's just taking advantage of the chaos. Seattle gets the win. Go 12th man. They're one of the last remaining undefeated teams, and yeah, I'll admit, it's surprising. Seattle and Minnesota surprised undefeated after 3 weeks against very formidable opponents. Yeah, but hey, you win, no one's fault. Seahawks with the win. With you, I'm surprised I'm wearing this hat very early. There are some teams that I have not yet to wear their hats on this channel after 3 weeks, and I feel that some may never get a chance to be worn on my head, and Carolina got it at week 3. So benching Bryce Young seemed to be appropriate. The Panthers showcased the full power of their potential, and I can't help but feel like if Bryce Young is, oof. I mean, you always go with the hot hand in quarterback play. You go with the hot hand quarterback. And yes, it was against the Raiders. Remember, this is the same team that beat the Ravens in Baltimore in the Raider defense. For some reason, Andy Dalton and the Panthers unlocked, the Infinity Stone and found a way to become a powerhouse. They looked for, Andy Dalton threw 3 touchdowns in the first half. And I can't help but feel like, with Atlanta, with everyone in the NFC South basically losing, Carolina is 1 game away from first place. Yes, it's only week 3, but it just feels like, seriously, could we literally be talking about everyone being 2-2 next week? I'm just saying. And also it makes that Saints win against Carolina in week 1 be like, wow, good thing you didn't play against Andy Dalton. Would the results been the same? Maybe. But right now, Carolina gets a win, and we're not even 10 weeks into the season. Like I said, Panthers with a win. Meow. Injuries is a part of life. Injuries in sports happens. And boy, don't know the pro system of gambling, but I'm sure everyone was thinking the Chargers were going to win, but when Herbert went out, it basically was dead in the water. But also, you can't help but feel like Justin Fields is doing enough, and there's a small part of you thinking, don't take him out just yet, let him keep going, let him get better. The Steelers' defense is proving that the week 1 success and week 2 is not just a fluke. Granted, the offense should be more formidable, because then that defense will be way more dangerous because it'll make the offense to compete against one-dimensional. But Pittsburgh is undefeated, and I cannot believe that we're all thinking that with all the quarterback problems and the drama and everything, the Steelers are 3-0. Yes, they have not really played against anybody that we considered great. Even Atlanta, we're not going, you Atlanta. But the The Chargers lost Herbert, and that's why I say the AFC West seems kind of like, huh. Chiefs look nah. Chargers, huh? Denver, could Denver and Bo Nix, I mean, hell, they win next week. They're 500, and they're right back in it. So Steelers undefeated, and with Baltimore finally getting a win, but everyone else basically doing. We might be talking about Pittsburgh winning the division, then Pittsburgh sneaking to the playoffs, the last second seed right now. Could it happen? Could be. But Pittsburgh gets the win. Boy, Baltimore. No. Oh, Baltimore. Ooh, Baltimore. Baltimore, Baltimore. You need to stop doing this. For a run-heavy type offense, you guys somehow are not able to keep a big lead going. And Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, where was this offensive late game surge? They could have had that against New Orleans, but I guess you didn't. And now there are people talking about you guys potentially losing for the third straight time, and this to a division foe, and the Giants, a team that you basically have owned for basically the past 1,000 years. Baltimore gets the win. They needed it, but I'm not going to say that I'm very confident. Yes, Derrick Henry finally showed why he was all in on Baltimore, but Dallas, boy, I mean, Dallas is up there with teams like Cincinnati, Jacksonville, teams that are just like, what is wrong with them? We were already crowning them as going to the playoffs by default. Some already cashed their tickets. But for whatever reason, now Baltimore is got a win, but Dallas lost back-to-back home games? So what's the bigger story? Baltimore with a win or Dallas losing again? 3 weeks in, is it okay to panic? Yeah, it's okay to panic. Baltimore with the win. Not gonna lie, this is the game I was most interested in because you want to see if the Lions can bounce back. And also, is Arizona, formidable? And in a weird way, I feel like this game answered both questions. Marvin Harrison and Kyle Murray proved that last week wasn't a one-time fluke. Arizona is probably still more dysfunctional compared to the Lions. But this game, to me, at least for me, that Arizona is not just going to roll over and die. And Arizona, the way the NFC West is, I mean, do not sleep on Arizona. Do not sleep on Arizona. The West might be more formidable than we thought originally, even with all the injuries going on all the bigger teams and the Rams and the Niners. But this one, to me, yes, the Lions did win, but I don't think this should be like, well, that's it for Carolina. That's it for Cardinals. That's it for Arizona. Oh, well, I guess that was a good win against division foe. Nah, I'm thinking Detroit didn't flex and Arizona didn't roll over. So, for right now, yes, Lions get the win, but Arizona, they're not slackers. But Detroit with a win, good bounce back. Arizona, keep your chin up, kid. Talk about keeping your chin up. How about the Los Angeles Rams getting against their division foe, a comeback special, injuries to hell and back, basically having free agency they picked off just before the kickoff to wear a jersey that probably doesn't fit, and they still make plays, and the Rams find a way to win. This is another example of what's more interesting of a story. The Rams winning with basically nobodies, or the 49ers for some reason can't be consistent and win. We are 3 weeks in, and the 49ers are not have a winning record. They lost back-to-back to two teams, both have horns on their helmets, funny enough, Rams and Vikings, against two teams that I think most of us probably can put our house down and our firstborn child as Niners are going to beat them. Or a worst case, split them. But no, just like the Cowboys, they win week 1, we're all happy, but then we start realizing that there's more games to go. And in back-to-back weeks, they've lost. Yes, it's only 3 weeks in, and yes, that's the narrative we all have to say. But next week is the quarter mark of the season where I believe the preseason is over. But there's a lot of teams that have injuries, and the Rams Niners have injuries, and for whatever reason, the Rams veteran leadership of Matthew Stafford was the difference maker in this. I mean, there's no Christian McCaffrey for the 49ers yet. There's some players that are star players or starters on their team for their success that have yet to play this season. Rams with the win, they deserve it, but San Francisco joined Dallas in the panic room. Okay, I did say Atlanta could beat the Chiefs. And as I was watching the game, I will admit my allegiance switched to Kansas City because the Saints and Bucks all lost, and I'll be damned if wrong teams. If Atlanta beats the Chiefs, I'm like no. But boy, was there a lot of chance. I was like, they're going to do it. The Falcons are going to do it. The Falcons are going to do it. Mahomes throws a weird interception by Justin Simmons at the goal line. Travis Kelce was basically a no-show. And the defense was getting pushed back, 3 or 4 yards a carry. And like I said, the Falcons feel so much more of a running team than the Ravens do. And they have a pocket passing 30-plus-year-old quarterback with bad legs and a recent Achilles tendon. And yet I can't help but feel like the Falcons should just run the ball every play. Just run the ball every play. I mean, Tyler and Bijan are a perfect 1-2 punch. They're both very formidable. They're both very powerful. And I thought on 4th and inches, straight up the gut. Maybe not a quarterback sneak, but straight up the gut. But you throw a pitch. And when I saw the pitch, I was like, you morons! And I saw Nick Bolton made a very secure tackle. Nice technique right through the gap between the offensive linemen. And made the tackle on the low. Went low. He went high. He went low to make sure that Bijan cannot run. And that cost him the game. This is another game where I feel like, man, Atlanta, you're overthinking it. You're overthinking. It's 4th and... If it's 4th and 1, fine. But it's 4th and inches. I believe your offensive line can get that inch. And with Bijan or Tyler or whoever, would have gotten that inch. But no. You gave Chiefs another win. You gave Chiefs fans to say never in doubt, when really they're panicking. The Chiefs are due for a loss. Maybe next week. Well, they play the Saints. They could. They could. The Chiefs are not scary, guys. They're not that scary. But Baltimore, Cincinnati, Atlanta. Boy, you guys, come on. You're letting them sneak by. Now, they were losing by 20, 30 points. I'd be like, well, that's the Chiefs. Chiefs aren't that good. This rant's a bit long. But yeah, Chiefs get the win. But boy, you guys miss an opportunity. So like I said, everyone's panicking. And some people are saying, maybe Jaden Daniels should have been picked first before Caleb Williams. I'm not going to go on that on that wagon. I mean, they said that with Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston and RG3 and Andrew Luck. Funny enough how most of them are not even playing. Some are still in the league, but they're not playing, and some are out of the league. So they're definitely not playing. But Jaden Daniels surprising me. I mean, the win against the Giants, yes, the injury to the kicker really hurt the Giants, but still he found a way to win with 1,000 cuts with, kicking. But in this one, a game where there was no punts and no turnovers against two LSU, Heisman Trophy winners going at it, basically made you feel happy. But I can't help but feel like, Cincinnati, what is wrong with you? Defense a major problem once again. But also you look at Washington thinking, they really have no offense. Terry McLaurin, but compared to Cincinnati's offensive firepower, Washington didn't, and they found a way. Washington, with the impact of the Giants and Cowboys being 2 losses, and the Washington Commanders having 2 back-to-back wins, one, it makes the Buccaneer loss seem like, okay, they were trying. But if Philadelphia loses to Tampa, could we be talking about Washington 3-1 in the first place in the NFC East by the quarter grade mark? I don't know. But it'll be great content. Washington gets a win in an impressive game, but Washington gets a win. And the last game of the weekend goes to a blowout as Buffalo proves that they don't need Stephon Diggs apparently, or half of their secondary. And they put 47 points on the Jacksonville Jaguars that we just can't help but say, didn't Trevor Lawrence just got a big contract? Haven't there's a lot of teams, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Antoine Winfield, Tristan Wirfs, a lot of people got their big contracts, and some have already been injured, some have not played up to the par, and some of them are losers, or some have not even played recently. So Buffalo gets a big win. Josh Allen proving he is the MVP, and I said Cincinnati is the biggest threat to Kansas City. I have to rescind that statement and say it's Buffalo. I'm not going to say Buffalo is right now probably the front runner to win the Super Bowl. But besides being undefeated, I'd be like, tell me why not? Every opponent they played, I thought they would lose, against, and they found a way to win. I thought the week 1 matchup against Arizona was a sign of saying, okay, they're going to be in shootouts, but this blowout win against Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, a team that we all thought was going to be formidable. A lot of teams are winless. A lot of teams are 1-2 that we all thought were going to be at least, division leaders or even playoff contenders by default. And now we're looking and thinking, no, they're not. Shame. Shame, shame, shame. Buffalo gets a big win and a bigger statement for the rest of not just the AFC East or the AFC, but the entire NFL. Buffalo and Vikings in the Super Bowl. 2 team went to 4, never won. There you go. That's the script. Buffalo Vikings Super Bowl. That's the script. So until next time, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic. Thank you so very much for watching. See you for week 4.